All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another pre-fight show, the UFC 190 pre-fight show. My name is Eddie Law. I am your host. With us today, we got Nick Pilecki, straight out of his car next to a creepy freaking playground, and straight out of Cali, Jesse Rubalcaba. How you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah, good. Just in a disclosed location so no one kills me when I make my pick.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if a cop pulls up next to Nick here, and beats the crap out of him, we got it on video. You guys need to capture that shit off of YouTube and send it to the nearest civil rights lawyer, okay? We need to get this shit. We don't want our boy to get beat up for no reason. That's horse shit. All right.
No.
So, and real quick, on a note, and I know we were talking about it a few seconds ago before the show started, Roddy Piper passing away at 61 years old. I know Nick used to be a wrestler. Look, he's one of the few wrestlers I knew, right, that I actually watched when I was a kid. Roddy Piper was a bad motherfucker wearing a skirt. That dude was weird as shit to me because I was like, this dude's wearing a skirt, but he's beating the crap out of people. That's kind of cool. When I was a kid, I was like, that's weird, but it's kind of cool. Now we know him as the namesake, I guess, of Ronda Rousey, Ronda Rousey. She's already dedicated her fight to Piper. Real quick, Nick, give your thoughts about Roddy Piper and what he meant. I guess what do you think he means in sports entertainment and in MMA?
Well, in sports entertainment, I know to the wrestling fans, he brought that crazy factor. He was just insane overall. He brought it's weird to describe him as just an entertainer. He was just a different type of entertainer. And even The Rock has come out and said that he based some of his entertainment off Roddy Piper, and like you said, Ronda Rousey got her nickname from him too. So he brought a different aspect to sports entertainment, and it sucks to see him go. He was even in it last WrestleMania. He showed up, and he was still in the ring. He always came back and tried to give back to the fans. But I found that out yesterday at work, and it sucks that he had to go at 61 years old. Though it's a young age, in my opinion.
Well, it is. Most people die. Everyone lives forever these days. When they used to do you work so many years and you get so many years of Social Security. It used to be like 5 years Social Security, right? Because everyone died in 60s, maybe early 70s. People live forever now. So now they have 15, 20 years of it. But so it's weird to hear someone die at 61 years old of cardiac arrest. And Jesse, you watched wrestling when you were young?
Yeah, actually, I was a pretty big fan of wrestling, and yeah, I was kind of bummed out when I saw that yesterday. But I mean, it's one of those things. You kind of look at all the wrestlers that have kind of left us, and they're all pretty young. We know, the sport, we'll say, of wrestling is not one of those things that's really kind to you, not in your later years, because it's just a lot of damage, a lot of road work. It's just one of those things that really kills your body. But yeah, like Nick was saying, Roddy Piper, he's one of those guys that was just iconic, along with Hogan, along with the Warrior. It's like he's one of those namesakes that, even though I'm pretty sure a lot of MMA fans probably know him just because he's one of those old school guys that just had that wow factor. He was crazy. He wasn't the most fit athletic guy in the world, but he was the guy that you looked at and you saw out there doing his thing in his skirt with his leather jacket, just beating the hell out of people. He was that guy that a lot of people kind of looked up to because he was almost the everyday guy. So and then of course what was it? I think it was last week or a couple events ago. Someone quoted his movie They Live, where they said they came here to chew bubblegum and kick some ass, and they're all out of bubblegum. So I mean that that's one of the most iconic lines, in a movie that probably not a lot of people have seen, but they know the line. So, it's one of those things where, he's going to be remembered for a long time, and it's sad to hear him go.
Yeah, definitely. He was a student of Gene LaBelle, I believe. So, Judo Gene LaBelle, also a teacher of one Ronda Rousey. So it's just one of those sad things to see. I think the only wrestler death that really got to me, and it wasn't even that long ago, Eddie Guerrero dying.
Yep.
From when he died, I was like, damn, because when I was a kid, man, Eddie Guerrero was the shit, dude. That dude was awesome. You lie, you cheat, you steal, and everything. And after he died, I kind of started drifting off of wrestling. And then once The Rock left, I quit. I'm like, I'm done. This is bullshit. So, and I've never gone back. I go watch WrestleMania once in a while to see what crazy stuff happens. And I actually caught this last one with Ronda Rousey and The Rock. So that was kind of cool. But all right, enough wrestling talk. Let's get to UFC 190 going down tonight. It will kick off at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on the UFC Fight Pass prelims with the first fight, Hugo Viana against Guido Caneri. Caneri, one of those Argentinian dudes, and Viana is a Brazilian. I believe he's on one of the Tough series, and Caneri was on Tough Latin America. And well, here's the thing: Viana has good grappling, and he's pretty technical, in the striking, and he's done okay in the UFC, going 3-2. The only losses he's gotten are Aljamain Sterling, who I think we can agree is pretty damn good, and the current bantamweight champion T.J. Dillashaw. Meanwhile, Guido Caneri is actually a legit good fighter who just hasn't shown the fight. He hasn't had a fight to show that he's legit, in my opinion. But at the same time, he seems to be a guy who either won't or can't pull the trigger. His last loss against Enrique Briones in the second round via, I think it was a rear naked choke. That was after having a pretty good first round on the feet. So, he has that ability to win fights. He just seems to me that he's hesitant. He won't actually, pull the trigger. But Jesse, what do you think about this fight? Who you got winning?
Man, I'm going with the Wolverine here, Hugo Viana. It all comes down to me is the experience again. Caneri, this is his second fight in the UFC. The thing that impresses me about him is that he's got all his wins, all 6 of his wins. I think it's first round finishes. So he's the type of guy that really just starts fast, likes to get in there and get after it. I mean, 3 KOs, 3 submissions, nothing going to decision. I mean, this guy, he comes to fight. And like you said, I mean, Viana, he's the guy that has been out there. He was on the Tough on Team Vitor. So, I mean, the thing is that the level of competition is what sells it for me here. Aljamain Sterling, like you said, and T.J. Dillashaw, those 2 guys, I mean, they're some of the top of their division. And that's the thing. I mean, losing to those 2 guys, it's no shame. And kind of hanging with Aljamain for a little bit there on Viana's part. So, I mean, I'm picking Viana here just because of the fact that, I mean, his losses are coming to these top contenders that, I figure that maybe after a few more fights and, a little bit more experience, he can be right there with them.
No, and I agree with you. I think Viana has that ability. He has that game, but he just, it's just those 2 losses are none to be ashamed of at all. Completely agree, especially to the champ. All right, Nick, what do you think about this fight?
Jesse took the words right out of my mouth. I'm gonna go with the Wolverine here. I think he just has that experience in the cage and that power. He has that power to come in and take the win. So I think the Wolverine's gonna be taking this, and especially it's in Brazil. It's going decision. All Brazilians are winning today. So.
You know what?
Oh my God! It begins.
More than likely, you know what? If it happens in the Fight Pass prelims and they go, because usually those fights go decision. If it goes to decision and the Brazilian wins, and it's even a little bit controversial, that's just the downward spiral, man. It's gonna happen. But we'll see.
Look. Like
yeah.
we've already seen this fight before. Didn't you see the last Wolverine fight? Wolverine beat the hell out of a bunch of ninjas.
Yeah.
So that's what's gonna happen here, man.
Yeah, more than likely. And again, like I said, Canetti's he's a tough dude. He got screwed on at least one fight during the Tough Latin America series, but he's a legit dude. Oh, Don Mano's joining us straight out of Oklahoma. How you doing, man?
All good, sir.
All right, we were actually talking about the very first fight on the Fight Pass prelims, Hugo Viana against Guido Caneri. Any thoughts on that?
I don't know much about the other guy. I just know I like Hugo Viana, just fight style. He just goes in there and bites down the mouthpiece and goes at it. That's what I like.
All right, so I think we're all picking Viana here. So, all right, moving on to the next fight, Vitor Miranda from the I think it was one of the Tough Brazil series against Clint Hester, who I think was also on Tough. So we got a bunch of tough people on here. Anyway, so Hester, in my opinion, is a slow starter. Miranda also seems to be a slow starter. This is a recipe for either a weird fight or an awesome second and third round. Now, Hester's as athletic as they come. Miranda has power to his strikes. To me, it's kind of a weird fight to call. Nick, what do you think about this fight? Who you got winning?
Did Clint end up making weight?
Clint made weight after in a second try. He was only 0.7.
After the second try? Okay, I think Clint's going to take this. He has that drive. He has that will to take it. And, yeah, like you said, he has that slow start, the slow burn. But once he gets going, he starts going for it. And I think Clint can take this one by decision.
All right, Jesse.
Man, here, the problem for me is Hester is those guys that had a lot of potential. You saw him on the Tough 17. He was on Team Jones, and the thing here is that like he showed like so much potential, but you just saw him like it almost like he wasn't trying in there. Like he has the ability, he's a straight boxer basically. He has the ability to put hands on people and put them down. But the problem is that he's going against Miranda here, or Lex Luthor with a horrible name here, but he's a K1 champ. Two-time K1 champ in Brazil, champ in Turkey. He's got that really, really precise striking, the kicks and everything that come with it. He's also a Muay Thai guy. I just don't see how Clint Hester is going to be able to deal with just straight up boxing and a little bit of wrestling that he has. He's going to be able to deal with the type of striking that Miranda brings. Plus the fact that 2 losses back in the day from Miranda to Fabio Maldonado, who's not a guy that really takes too lightly of an opponent. He puts damage down, and to go to decision twice with that guy. And then I think he was fighting in the ultra heavyweight or ultimate heavyweight in those K1 divisions. So to him, nothing's gonna surprise him. I don't think Hester's gonna hit him with anything that he hasn't been hit before. So I'm taking Miranda here, just based on his better striking and ability to really neutralize Clint Hester's boxing.
Yeah, and I agree with that. With the difference being that Clint Hester is in my opinion a little more versatile. But look, if anyone watched that Tough Brazil season with Miranda, dude's got power, all right. And Clint Hester he can eat a shot, but you eat too many of them, you're going to sleep. Dom, what do you think about this fight?
I'm a really fan of the head bussa, or as they said, head busa last night.
Oh yeah.
Big fan of that dude, but his problem is whenever he faces upper echelon strikers, like when he faced Robert Whitaker, he was outclassed easily. But when he faces people like Bristol Miranda, who, all respect to Bristol, is kind of going on the end of his career, Andy Enns, he can look good. But when it comes to Lex Luthor, as you said, I watched that Tough season. Dude is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. I don't see how Clint can last 3 whole rounds with this guy.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm also picking Miranda here, obviously, because I did watch that Tough Brazil season. Dude is just, he looks like he's a humble guy. He looks like a really nice guy that wouldn't do anything. Lock that cage door, and you might be fucked. So that's kind of what it is on that one. All right, so that's going to be it for UFC Fight Pass prelims. Again, they begin at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, so don't forget to catch those. And then beginning our FS1 prelims, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Very first fight, Yuri Alcantara against Leandro Issa. Alcantara is more talented on the feet, in my opinion, but also has that problem of not being able to pull the trigger. And I say that a lot about a lot of guys, but it's honestly a problem a lot of fighters have, not being able to just pull the trigger. So anyway, that being said, he's real good on the ground. Issa is also very good on the ground. I'm expecting a grappling match here because I don't think Issa wants to keep us on the feet. Still, I think the biggest factor is going to be Alcantara's athleticism, or at least he's more athletic than Issa is. So I think I'm going to take Alcantara in this fight. I'm not sure how it's going to be, whether it's going to be in the grappling, the decision, or TKO, but I'm thinking it's going to be a grappling match. Don, what do you think?
Alcantara's faced higher level competition over his career in the UFC. Von Lee, Uriah Faber, all those people that he's faced in his past. It's going to prepare him for this moment. It's going to be a grappling match. It might go all the way to decision, but I just think Yuri got this because I'm a big fan of his. That's probably the main reason why I'm going with him.
All right, Jesse, what do you think of this fight?
Man, I have to agree with Don here. Because of what he said, the experience of being in there with some top-level competition. You just, there's no way getting around when someone has been in there with some top competitors. That experience alone is miles better than anything else. And you look at Issa's record, he's got no real, anybody that's comes in even close to Uriah Faber or any one of those guys in the UFC. So his level of competition has kind of been really, really low, in my opinion. He's on a 2-fight win streak against people that, fighters that are, you can't say tomato cans, but just not on the level of Alcantara. Look at his record: 31 wins, 6 losses. That alone should tell you that this is pretty much just going to be just overly in favor of Alcantara. So I'm going with him. it's probably gonna go a decision, which kind of sucks because he does have the striking, like Eddie, like you said. But I don't think he's gonna use that striking. He might set it up to take it to the ground and just strangle Issa, but it's not gonna be a good night for Issa for sure.
Yeah, I got you on that one too. I'm also picking Alcantara. I think he's just a higher caliber fighter. Nick, who you got?
Same. I got Alcantara. I think he's that high caliber fighter, like you said, Eddie, and I think it's going to be that grinding grappling match, and I'm pretty sure he'll take it by decision. But if he does stay standing and he learn how to work and how to use his hands properly and pull that trigger, he could get the TKO, but I don't think he's going to do it. I think it's going to be a grinding match, a grappling match, and Alcantara's going to take it.
Yeah, the only way I see it being, staying on the feet the whole time is if Issa just loses his mind and decides he's going to stand with this dude, or if he somehow improved and thinks he can stand with Alcantara. But if he thinks he can stand with Alcantara, even no matter how much training he's done, he's going to get snuffed, I think. I think Alcantara is just too good. All right, moving on here to the next fight. Another tough Brazil vet here, Warley Alves against Nordine Taleb. Now, Taleb is a somewhat powerful striker who can get you down to the ground, but I just don't buy it, man. I think Alves is just, he's not a pushover, obviously, but he's got plenty of power and aggression on the feet. He's pretty damn talented on the ground. I don't have much to say. I think he's just an overall better fighter than Nordine. So, Jesse, what do you think about this fight? Who you got?
Man, this fight is an interesting fight for me. And I'm picking Alves here just because he took a win from my boy Alan Jouban, a decision win. He's on a 2-fight win streak. The only thing that troubles me here is that Taleb here had a kind of a really, really good rough fight against Zramkis in Bellator. And if you watch that fight, that was a really, really good fight. I mean, the transitional wrestling to the striking, it was a really, really technical fight between both of them. So, I mean, that's the only thing that really kind of gives me a little bit of worry here, but I think Alves here is going to win. He's going to stay undefeated here, just because anybody that beat Jouban has to keep going up. Can't have a bad run on Jouban's matchup there. So I want him to win this fight.
Yeah, Jouban's one of those guys that's he's gonna get he's starting to get that reputation. If you beat Alan Jouban, you got something, you got some skills. So. He's getting to that point. I think Jouban's one of those guys you gotta look at to be the future of the UFC, or at least part of it. So we'll definitely, I definitely like Jouban. We'll have to keep an eye on him. But again, Warley Alves, Nick, who you got, Taleb or Alves?
I got Alves, man. I think he has that more drive to take it. Yeah, he's not that, he doesn't have those good wins under his belt, but I think this is going to be his starting point to get some good wins under his belt and climb up the rankings. So I think Alves is going to be taking this one.
All right, Don, what do you think about this fight?
I'm gonna have to go with Alves. I mean, he won Tough Brazil as a middleweight. He took the win from Alan Jouban, who I'm a big fan of too. He's gonna be the future of the UFC, definitely. But when it comes to a fight like this, it's gonna be really hard for him to lose to a guy who's only beat 3 people who aren't really much of a big name in the UFC. I mean, if you lose to Marius Zramskis, it's a pretty big loss on your record because Marius is great, but I can't choose against him. That's my dude is Warley Alves. I'm gonna take him.
Yeah, and I'm taking Warley Alves just because the dude he's a monster in that Tough Brazil season, and I don't see him changing at all. And Nordine, he's just not anywhere near where Alves is. And I'm not saying Alves is a world beater. I am saying he's better. So, all right, moving on here to Rafael Cavalcante against Patrick Cummins. Feijão. Finally, I like Feijão. Feijão's one of the guys I like watching. He's a better striker in my opinion. Well, not in my opinion. He's definitely a better striker than Patrick Cummins, who's an elite wrestler. But he's got Feijão's got a solid ground game. Cummins is an elite wrestler. He's got plenty of power in his hands. That being said, I think Feijão's technical striking game is just too much for Cummins. But this fight still, to me, is a little harder to call for the fact that Cummins is so damn aggressive. However, we have seen Cummins gas out bad and looked horrible. So, that being said, I'm taking Feijão in a private decision. I think no. I'll take him TKO. But at the same time, if Patrick Cummins worked on his cardio and improved it, he could have a better showing. I just think he gasses out in the second round. So I'm not sure how you guys are gonna call it, but let's go with Jesse on this one. What do you think about this fight?
Damn, I gotta be the first one. Man, you know, like you said, it's a really really tough call here. You look at Fei Zhao's last loss, it was to Bader, a guy that's mostly a wrestler, likes the power in his hands a little bit too much, I think. And it sucks because you know it's one of those things where Bader's on a good win streak, and you want him up there in the upper echelon, you know, maybe fighting for a title, which is sad in the sense that, I mean, that's the guy that everybody was kind of calling for a title shot. But hey, he got the wins. But you know, the style that he has is kind of what Patrick has, except without the smooth transitions from boxing to wrestling. And that's, I think, where Cummins has to really improve upon. You know, his fight with DC, you know, came off. He looked okay in there, but I mean, DC, he's just a destroyer. He just ran over him, you know, took a couple bit of shots and then just took him down and beat him down. You know, that OSP, and I think that's the problem with Cummins is he's too aggressive. If he comes out, you know, sticks to a little bit of his wrestling, his game plan, you know, stick and move a little bit, just take Cavalcante down and just beat him up on the ground, I think he'll take this win. So I'm going with Cummins here. He has a lot of praise from a lot of people in the MMA community. You know, they keep saying that a lot of people didn't want to fight him in the amateur ranks or in the lower ranks of the MMA world. You know, a lot of people looked at his record and they were kind of scared of him. So, you know, he had a lot of praise coming into the UFC. So I just want him to live up to that praise and start, you know, moving up in the ranks. And I think this is going to be the first fight that we're going to see him kind of come into that praise.
All right. You know, the other thing about Patrick Cummins, though, is he was talking a lot of shit about how he made DC cry in the wrestling room. And DC's one of those guys, you piss him off, you know, look, you don't want to piss off a dude that used to be, you know, even fatter than he is now, okay? He lost some weight. He thinks he looks good and all that. He feels pretty good, right? He's at 205. He's a champ. Well, he's champ now. But he thought he could beat Jones and all that. And you don't want to piss that guy off because that guy's got confidence. Now, Nick, what do you think about this fight? Cummins, you know, do you think Cummins has a chance against Fei Zhao, or who are you picking?
I think Cummins does have a chance against him. I'm going to pick Cummins because I think he's going to wrestle fuck him to death. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. He's going to take him down. He's going to hold him down. He's going to pepper punch him. He's going to score them points. And that's a smart win for Cummins, beating Fei Zhao, because it'll move him up the ranks a little bit. But that's exactly what I think is going to happen. He's going to try striking with him, exactly. He's going to try striking with Fei Zhao. He's going to know, oh, I don't like this. He's going to take him to the ground, hold him there, and keep doing that. Unless he gasses out, then Fei Zhao is going to end up taking it. But I don't think Patrick's going to gas out this time. I think Patrick can take it, and it's going to be by decision.
All right, Don, what do you think?
I think something we're forgetting about, we're not talking about, is Fei Zhao's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You can take him down, true, but off his back, he's ridiculous, and his striking is way better than OSP. I love Ogun St. Preux. If he can knock out Patrick Cummins, there's no way that Fei Zhao can't knock him out. I mean, Fei Zhao, his striking is just too much to be matched. Sure, he lost to Ryan Bader, but Ryan Bader's a higher-level wrestler, way better than what I'll give Patrick Cummins. It might be a 3-rounder, but I do see Cavalcante eventually hitting him with one of those shots when Patrick's finally putting his hands down a little bit.
All right, and so you heard it here first, and I'm picking Fei Zhao as well. I think he's gonna TKO him. And again, my thing is just Cummins gasses out. So it's just one of those things. All right, moving on to the main, or the premier fight, or the feature fight on the prelims. I'm excited about this fight. I'm pretty sure you guys are too, but this is Damian Maia against Neil Magny. This might end up being the best fight on the card. Maia has solid striking, and somehow he's gotten better in that department as he's gotten older, which a lot of fighters don't do, right? Magny, in my opinion, is more of a fluid striker with the ability to send better strikes. He can send spinning attacks, all that. Maia doesn't do a lot of that, but he sticks with what he's good at, but he's good at it. Now Maia's ground game is scary, but he needs his striking to be on point to be able to threaten Magny with it. For me, this is a hard one to pick. I'm gonna go Magny, but I like Maia. I'm a Maia fan, but I'm gonna go with Magny on this one. Don, what do you think, and who are you picking?
Neil Magny has that chin. That chin can withstand some punches. Look at his last fight; he was out, like pure. If that was Herb Dean could have called that one easily. Magny has this chance to win, but I think Damian Maia's ground game is too good. It's just too good. Magny will go for a takedown. It'll end up being kind of like a Cain Velasquez situation. He'll go for a takedown and get caught. And it's going to be really sad because I think Magny could be the future of the welterweight division. But I'm going to take Maia in the second round.
All right, Jesse, what do you think?
Man, I got to agree here. I mean, you look at the 7-win streak that Magny's on. Impressive. 7 wins in a row, But the thing is, you look at some of those people on that list there. Not the competition of Damian Maia, not that level of fighter, and I think that's going to be the problem here. Now, I could be wrong, and Magny could surprise us with some good transitionals, wrestling, and the striking. But I mean, I think what we're going to see here is Maia, have that little awkward of boxing, that he does, and then take it to the ground and just submit Magny here. And it's sad because we're going to lose out on a really, really top contender in Magny, but, it's got to be what it's got to be, I guess.
Right. All right. Nick Pilecki with the Back to the Future glasses on. Who you got?
Actually, I'm driving right now. Sorry, guys. But I'm going to go Neil Magny, man. He's a future to this division. I really do believe it. He has that power. He has that chin, too. And he has that drive to take the win. I like Damian Maia, though. His ground skills are... we already know his ground skills are elite. But he's been trying to strike a lot now. I think Neil Magny's going to teach him no more striking for you, keep it to the ground, and Neil Magny's going to end up taking the TKO win.
So you're thinking maybe next fight we see Maia resort to the butt scoot again?
Yep, exactly.
God, man, Anderson was pissed about that. He made him look really stupid. All right, and Max Reed tweeting in saying, can definitely see Maia Magny be one of the best fights tonight. Got to take Maia on this. So it's 3 against 2 at this point with that pick. 2 for Magny, 3 for Maia. So, all right, moving on to the main card. Main card beginning on pay-per-view only, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. So all you people on the East Coast bitching about it being a late card, suck it. All right, we don't get live events or Bellator and any of that. So you guys can just eat a dick at this point. Anyway, in the nicest way possible. All right, first fight on the main card, Claudia Gadelha against Jessica Aguilar. Now, the first fight on the main card, it's in my opinion, it's a perfectly set fight. Because it's going to be a legit good fight, I think, with both ladies having something to gain. For Aguilar, she's claimed she's the #1 strawweight in the world. Beating Gadelha could definitely give her that legitimacy, and some people even say a title shot straight from the 15th rank all the way to a title shot. And for Gadelha, I think a win here gets her a title shot and a rematch with Johanna. Now, Gadelha's striking is much better than Aguilar's, and her output is much higher, I think. And Aguilar wants this fight to go to the ground. She wants to have that top game. She wants to grind out a decision. I don't see that happening against Gadelha. I think Gadelha is going to force the fight to stay on the feet, and she's going to dominate Aguilar and win via TKO. But, again, Aguilar claiming Aguilar's probably the best strawweight until now outside of the UFC. Now she's in the UFC. Obviously, she's ranked 15. She's got to prove herself. This is a heavy, heavy test for Jag, I think. Jesse, what do you think about this fight? Who you got?
I think that's the problem. I mean, I see Jessica Aguilar as one of those old, like a Shogun Rua or a Nogueira. Like, she's that type of, in the women's division, like that old guard. She beat a lot of the people that are, top contenders in that division. But, I mean, 10-fight win streak that she's been on. Her last loss was in 2010 against Zoila Frosto. I mean, honestly, you look at the record that she's accumulated fighting at World Series of Fighting, at Bellator, 8 decisions, 2 submission wins, in her last 10 fights. I mean, not something that to really prove that she's the best. She claims that she's the best in the world, #1, but honestly, I don't see that here. I think Gadelha, 11-fight win streak until she ran into the wall that was JJ. I mean, and that's what's going to happen here. I think Gadelha is gonna take this win and have just another classic fight against JJ in a couple months. It was a split decision, and I think both of those girls are going to learn from that fight. So, I mean, unfortunately, Aguilar came into the UFC a little too late. She should have joined in when they started the division. Maybe she would have built a little bit more steam, a little bit more experience. But being her first fight in the UFC, not going to go good for her, I believe.
All right, Nick Pilecki, you still driving, but who you got, Jag or Gadelha?
Yeah, I don't know. Gadelha is a monster, like you guys said. The only person that she lost was the champ. But I think Aguilar can take it. I think she wants it more. It's her first fight in the UFC. Yeah, she'll have the octagon jitters, as they call it. But I think she has that more drive. And Gadelha, she's like we've all said, she's hit. The only loss that she hit was that wall was the champion. I don't think she's going to be able to climb back up to the champion. I think it's Aguilar's fight to win. But even if she loses, she'll still be in the UFC and she'll still be a it factor. But I think Aguilar's going to end up taking it either by decision or even a submission win, in my opinion.
All right, Don, what do you think about these ladies fighting? Who you got winning?
Okay, so Claudia Gadelha is the uncrowned champ. I don't care what anyone says. I watched that fight several times. She beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk in that fight. She's beaten great competition. She beat one of my favorite females in the world, Henrique Tiburcio. She's beaten Valerie Letourneau. She has good wins under her record. I'm not saying that Jessica Aguilar doesn't have good wins under her record, but she hasn't faced probably the greatest women's striker right now in the strawweight division in Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Gadelha has been in that ring with her. She has that experience. That 10-fight win streak Jessica has is going to be coming to an end tonight. And it's going to be probably within the first 3 rounds. I will give it actually round 2 TKO.
All right, there you go. You know what? One thing about Gadelha though too is I think she's just an elite athlete compared to Aguilar. Aguilar doesn't, she never gives you that look as she's an athlete, and people give her credit as being the first person to I guess, what's the word? Expose Carla Esparza, I guess. By beating her and showing that Esparza has no stand-up game whatsoever, and Johanna destroyed her, and we all saw that. But I don't know. I don't think Aguilar has it in her to beat someone like Gadelha. That's just good. Even better than her at pretty much everything. So we'll get to find out tonight. So it's gonna be your first fight in the main card. After that, we get names, but it's a weird fight for me because let me explain why. So Bigfoot is no longer TRT Bigfoot. This is post TRT Bigfoot, right? And he has not looked good at all since he's come off of TRT. Now his case is unique because he actually has a medical condition that requires that actually he legitimately needs TRT. But with the banning of it, he's lost that advantage to have that. So he kind of fights at a disadvantage. No matter what he says, that he's found other ways to help himself and all that. To me, it doesn't make sense. But you have to think that a loss here forces his retirement. I don't see him fighting past this, especially if he loses. So Soa has good technical striking. He's got power, but it's a tough fight to call due to the fact that Silva has been in some wars. He's beaten some names. He was in that war with Mark Hunt, which is awesome. Had he not gotten busted for whatever. And then Soa has had some crazy knockouts, but if Silva's able to absorb the damage and continue on, I think he's a better fighter than Soa. Now it's a weird thing to say. Honestly, a lot of people will disagree with that. But I'm gonna take Bigfoot Silva in this fight, and then he again he wins. There's really nothing to gain. He's not gonna want to go for a title. He's just gonna be there. And if he loses, I think he should just retire. I think he should retire either way. I mean, the dude shouldn't be fighting anymore. But it's like I said, it's a weird fight for me. But I am gonna take Bigfoot on this one. Nick, Bigfoot against Saul Pelele. What do you think?
Bigfoot versus Saul Pelele. I'm gonna pick Pelele on this one. I think Bigfoot's out the door. Like you said, his TRT thing. It comes down to a health issue and not just his fighting capability. I'm saying he's there. He still has that knockout power. It's a heavyweight division. Everyone can knock anybody out any given time. But I think Saul he's gonna hit him hard, and he's gonna go down hard. I think Silva's done. Maybe one more fight in the UFC, but I think he's either out to Bellator or retiring after this fight.
Damn, Bigfoot and Bellator. Even that sounds kind of weird, right? That doesn't make any sense to me. But
or maybe introducing Fedor.
Rematch.
Oh, dude. Yeah, you know what? That would be kind of crazy if Fedor does if he goes to the UFC, does the revenge tour with Verdum and Bigfoot as the first 2 fights. It'd be kind of crazy. All right, we'll go with Jesse and then Don. I'll be right back. I gotta get my charger. But Jesse and then Don. So go ahead, Jesse.
Man, here's the problem. I mean, if you look at Bigfoot Silva's record, you can pretty much stock it up to 4 losses in a row here. Frank Mir, the Mark Hunt fight, I mean, you might as well call it a loss because, I mean, he was enhanced, as they would say. It was a classic fight, no doubt, and he took some heavy shots in there. But honestly, it's just one of those things where you look at that record and you just don't see how he's going to be able to survive the heavy hands of the Hulk. The only problem here that I see is Pelele gasses out so fast and so hard. Like he's such a massive dude. He has to cut down to make the weight, and he carries around all this extra. Just honestly, it's just fat. You look at the guy and he's a massive dude, and he cuts down to the weight, and he hits so hard because he has all that extra weight behind him. But he has to carry that around, and in any kind of fight, it just looks like it's tiresome for him to really wing those hard punches. And if he doesn't put people out in the first round or something, it kind of ends up being kind of a tough night for him. But I think what's going to happen is the Hulk's going to hit him with one of those huge hands and put Bigfoot down, and then that's probably going to be the end of Bigfoot. I really hope, because for him to be taking these big shots and getting knocked out, it's not good for him, and I wouldn't want him to have any kind of repercussions from just taking fight after fight and just taking all this massive damage. So Palele here is going to win and unfortunately send Bigfoot back to the forest.
Yeah, you got to think that that fight against Mark Hunt took a few years off of Bigfoot's life, not just his career, but his life. So, while I'm sure as fans we appreciated the hell out of that war, for him, man, for sure, it took a physical, mental, so many tolls on each fight. No one even thinks about that, right? In a fight, each fighter, they're losing time of their, they're losing lifetime. They're not losing just the fight, just money. They're losing years. So it's kind of it's part of the game that no one likes to think about because it's pretty sad. But Don, what do you think about this fight? Who you got winning?
I love Antonio Silva because he's been kind of there for a long time in Strikeforce and the UFC. But so with Palele, his only types of losses are against wrestlers. And when's the last time you've seen Antonio Silva shoot for a takedown? If he does, it's gonna look hilarious. I'll enjoy it, but Silva's gonna get him out. It's gonna be the first round. The last two fights Antonio's had have ended in under 5 minutes combined. It's like he's facing Ronda Rousey over and over, and it's getting really sad. And I hate this for Antonio. I just think Soa Palele's got this one. It's gonna be just like Jesse said. It's gonna be like a hard right hand, and then Antonio should announce his retirement in front of his home country, Brazil, and just hopefully this won't be the shortening of his life. This will just be the next step in it.
Yeah, and again, hoping because again, he does have that medical condition. He's got a lot of things going on in his life right now. So, obviously I'm picking Bigfoot, but I'm hoping win or lose he retires. He hasn't said anything, hinted about it or anything, but I'm hoping he does, just to so he can move on to the next thing. All right, moving on to the next. What's up?
Look, I think we're all picking here as like fans of Bigfoot, and I think that's what's showing here, and I hope everybody understands that. Like, even though I'm picking Palele here, and so is Don, I think Don and I can both agree that we're big fans of Bigfoot. I mean, some of the classic fights that he's put on, but it's just we just, like Don said, we just don't want to see him get like this brain damage or anything like that. I mean, this is one of those fights where you just want to see him just kind of ride off into the sunset. If he wins, that's great. Just ride off into the sunset, man. We want what's best for him.
I agree 100% because I'm a big fan of Antonio. If he wins or loses, I want him to go off on a good term. And you know what? He's in front of his home country. They're probably going to hand him the mic. Why not show us that rap skills you used to have? Rap in front of your home crowd. Let's see that. That's what I want. Beat the greatest of all time in the end of the fight and rap in front of your crowd.
There we go. And it would be great if he got to retire in front of his home people. So that'd be just a kind of a cherry on top. So anyway, next fight, Stefan Struve against Antonio Nogueira. Now, this just like the Bigfoot fight, it's gonna be a tough one to watch. The names are there, but we're talking about two guys who are, in my opinion, shells of their former selves. Struve has not been the same since he had sit out a couple years due to heart issues, and Nogueira has had so many fights, been in so many wars that he looks like he's 20 years older than he really is. Now, Struve's a heavy hitter who's not very, very technical, but he hits hard, right? Big Nog is a guy who has taken a ton of damage and has shown that he can be knocked out. For example, the big shot against Roy Nelson. Now, yeah, Roy Nelson, but it's still, he still ate that shot and he got knocked out. So it's to the point where you kind of just feel bad watching Big Nog get in the octagon because you don't want him to get hurt anymore. And Struve is a young guy. I think he's 27, but his career has taken some big ups and downs, and I'm not sure he can come back from. I want Big Nog to win, but I think Struve's gonna take it, maybe a decision or a TKO. But I don't know, man. It's a weird, like I said, it's a hard one for me to watch. But Don, who you got in this fight and why?
Okay, so I'm gonna go against my last pick. I'm actually gonna choose an Antonio to win right now. Mm-hmm. Antonio, Rodrigo Nogueira, or Rodrigo. This one's Rodrigo. He's actually gonna win the fight because Stefan, he has punching. His power is there, but it's not on the level like Roy Nelson. So he's not gonna knock out Antonio. And when you come to ground game, Antonio's ground game might be one of the greatest ever, period, bar none, because he's beaten people over in Pride that was ridiculous. Bob Sapp, which we don't really want to talk about that. He's been in wars in Pride. Antonio, he's been in there. He's in front of his home crowd. He's going to get that extra little boost. It's going to be like Superman next to the sun. Antonio's got this. It's going to be no problem for him. I say it's going to be second round. He's going to bust him open. Him and Struve are going to go to the ground. He's going to take it.
All right. Yeah, here's the thing too is I think I don't know if it was him or his brother that said that they're gonna continue fighting. They're both a little up there in age, man. I think they're they're almost to the point where they need to start thinking about when they're leaving. But you can't tell a fighter to quit. So those two guys, they're tough dudes. But I agree, the ground Big Nog's ground game is a motherfucker for sure. Jesse, what do you think about this fight? Who you got?
Man, I gotta agree with you guys. I mean, I think you're looking at this fight and you see basically both of them on a two losing streak here. Kind of seeing who's just gonna. It kind of seems like who's gonna stick around, maybe make the rounds a little bit. Kind of be like the name that people get on their record, and then okay, we can put this guy in the upper echelon, maybe give him a top 15, top 10 guy. And I think that's kind of a sad way for Big Nog to go. But I mean, I think what's going to happen here is I'm going to take a little snippet from Brendan Schaub. He said, "Fighting Nogueira in Brazil, that guy's magic," and that's what we're going to see here tonight. I mean, he's like the type of guy that just does not want to disappoint his fans. He's got a big heart for all his fans. He's not going to go down easy. He's going to fight through this, and I think Stefan Struve just does not have what it takes to beat Nogueira in Brazil. I mean, all the troubles that Struve's been through, the loss of his father, his heart condition. I mean, all those things are just adding up to him having an early retirement. Unfortunate because he kind of could have been the future of the heavyweight division, probably the youngest guy on the roster as a heavyweight, I think, at this point. So I mean, it kind of sucks that his career kind of took a turn for kind of the worse there. But it's just hard for me to imagine Nogueira here losing in Brazil against a kind of very very former shell of himself as Struve. So Nogueira here for me.
All right, Nick Plunkett, quickly, who you got in this fight? Because we got to talk about one other thing before you go, because I know you got to jump off soon. So quickly, who you got in this fight between Struve and Nogueira?
I'm going Nogueira, man. I think Stefan Struve is going to be taken down, and Nogueira's going to grab one of those long-ass limbs. He's going to try to rip it off. He's going to try to get that win. Stefan Struve, like you said, he's a shell of his old self. He was a contender in my eyes back then, but ever since, like you said, the medical condition, the loss of his father, his broken jaw, I don't think he's not the same fighter that he was before. And it sucks because I really do like him, but I think he's going to get his arm ripped off, his leg ripped off. Some limb is going to get ripped off today by Nogueira.
All right, and again, I took Struve for the fact that I think he's gonna have the power and he's got the reach. If he learn how to use it, he should be able to knock out Nogueira. But I guess we'll find out tonight. But look, if Nogueira wins, I will not be upset whatsoever. All right, since I feel like he has to go pretty soon here, you got to tell us who you got in Rousey vs. Correa, and then we're gonna tear you apart for it. So go ahead, who you got in this fight and why?
I like Don's pose right now. It's cool. But all right, so I already know you guys are probably going to go with Rousey. Everyone's going to Rousey. Everyone's going to Rousey in the world. I'm going Correa. I think it's going to be different. It's a different matchup for Ronda Rousey, man. Like even if you watch all the interviews, she has this different look in her eyes. All the interviews, she's too emotional in this fight. It's different. The stare down too. What? Tell me a stare down besides Miesha Tate that someone was screaming in her face and she didn't react to nothing. Tell me another one. Tell me another stare down.
Look, man.
Exactly.
No, go ahead.
You can't. It's a different fighter. This person's not like a Kat Zingano who's gonna rush into her, grab her, get taken down like a dumbass, and get submitted in 14 seconds. It's not gonna happen. I think it's gonna be a smarter fight for Correa. She's not gonna rush her ass because she learned from Kat Zingano. She's gonna touch gloves. She's gonna clinch down on her mouthpiece. She might take a beating, but I think she has the capability to do it. Everyone's counting her out. She has nothing to lose right now. She has everything to win. And I'll go back to in the pocket when I brought up John Jones, Alexander Gustafsson. He had nothing to lose, everything to win, and look what happened. He won that fight. I think it's that type of fight for Ronda. If Ronda wins, hell yeah, I'm down for it. But I think it's just that different fight, and I think Correa can take this one.
All right, we'll give our picks at the end of the show here, but Don, go ahead and tell our friend here why he's wrong.
Tell him why he's wrong?
Just kidding. I'll tell him why.
Everything he just said is wrong because hey, sure, Ronda's not coming in emotional. I mean, we want her to cry all the time. We just Ronda didn't at the weigh-ins really recognize the fact that she was getting yelled at. Do you want to let him know that you've gotten to you? It's like when Conor McGregor stole the title from Jose. You could tell he was in Jose's head because he got up immediately and was trying to fight him on stage. What do you want Ronda to do? Start screaming back, and then we're just going to have a weird little talk today. I'm just going to say, Correia, she has striking. Yeah, it's not going to end in the first. That's probably a guarantee. It might end in the third, but it's going to be like Miesha Tate. She's eventually going to start gassing, get tired, because she's done it before. She's going to get close, get thrown on her back, and the arm's coming home to America.
Correia's not coming over. Jesse, what do you think about Nick's pick here?
Man. You know what?
I'm not drunk, I swear.
I'm gonna be in Vegas. If you want, you can slide me some money later, and I'll put that bet down for you because that thing will pay out. I think she's like a plus 1100.
Yes.
Yeah. It's I think she's the biggest underdog since what? Weidman Silva? No, I mean Sun and Silva.
I don't remember.
She's the biggest underdog in female MMA history.
Yeah, for sure.
Come on, man. I mean, look. The only comparison I can make is like to that type of personality that Correia is bringing is when Weidman went up against Silva the first time. He just had the self-confidence. He was like, I'm gonna beat this guy, and that's it. And then what did Silva tell him? We will see tomorrow. We will see. You know, he kept telling him. That's what we're gonna see right here. You know I mean, I don't know where you're coming up with this. I mean,
so you're saying we'll see a new champ? Is that what you're saying?
No, you must have a mole in some camp. You know, maybe somebody hit Rousey in the arm, in the leg, or something. You're not telling anybody or something. Because I mean, there's no way like you're honestly picking bets to win this fight. I mean, I mean, you look at what she's done in her fights. There's nothing to indicate to anybody here that she can win this fight. I mean, you look at the analysts on TV, and they're even like, yeah, you know, if she kind of lasts out, you know, the couple rounds and maybe takes it into the later rounds, you know, she's tough. Yeah, you know, she could win. Nobody's even like giving this like a thought of like, oh yeah, she has this way to win. No, nobody even can see that. Like, so, like I said, slide me some money. I'll be in Vegas. You know, I'll make that bet for you, man.
But I think that has to be one of the key factors for Correia in her mind. Everyone in the world is counting her out. Everyone.
Her own people are counting her out. Did you see the weigh-ins? She got booed.
Yeah, she's getting counted out. And watch, if she wins, guess what? Everyone's jumping on that bandwagon real quick.
Yeah, the rematch. Well, it'll be
except for Don and Jesse. Except for Don, they'll be getting drunk. They'll be getting drunk later on tonight.
Nope.
Along with Eddie.
Why would I want to do that when I know what's going to happen?
First of all, I'm not gonna get drunk because I'm on meds. I can't drink anything. But
oh yeah, you can't do that.
I can't drink for 6 months, bro. All right, this is gonna be weird. But at the same time, look, we'll give our picks later. I think the only chance Correia has is the fact that she's not unknown, but you know, it kind of like you were talking. Nick was talking on In the Pocket this week about the Chael Sonnen podcast or the little interview he gave. He made some valid points about Correia, but he also, you know, basically hinted like, yeah, don't get it twisted. Correia's gonna lose, but it's gonna be a tough out for Rousey. I think it's gonna be a tougher out for Rousey than everyone expects, but I don't give Correia any chance whatsoever. But you know, again, Weidman did beat Silva, and no one thought that would happen. So, on the same time, I picked Weidman to win that fight, by the way. So, you know, I got it right. Anyway, all right, Nick, can you hang on for a little while longer? You gotta go.
I can do one more pick.
All right, let's get your pick for the co-main before you go.
The co-main is Shogun versus Nogueira.
Little Nog.
Yes, I'm going Little Nog. I think Shogun. No, I don't know. It's a hard one. I think it's gonna be a good fight. I don't know. That's gonna be a hard one.
We planted a seeded doubt with the Rousey fight. He's like, shit, am I getting
you planted seeded? No, because okay, with this fight, I don't know. Shogun, he seemed like he was out the door, but then he doesn't seem like he's out the door. But same with Little Nog. Little Nog seemed like he was out the door, but then again, he still has his striking and his ground game. So it's going to be an entertaining fight. I think it's a toss-up. You can pick whoever you want to pick, and I wouldn't hate on it like you guys hate on me for my pick. But I'm going to go – I think I'm going to go Little Nog. I think Little Nog just is going to cap off the start of Shogun's career ending. It's going to be Little Nog tonight.
All right, man. Well, hey, you have a good day at work, man. So do your thing,
Yep.
and we'll shit on you where you're gone.
Yep. Yep.
All
I'll probably hear your
right.
tweets tonight. Later.
Oh, for sure. Later, man.
Later, man.
All right, so that was Mr. Nick Pilecki. You can follow him at Nick X Micro. Hate, send him all your hate, all of it, everything you got, all the ridicule, all the jokes, not the hate, just the ridicule and the jokes. Fuck with him a little bit, but that's it. All right, let's move on here. We'll get to those our picks for those fights in a minute here, but let's talk about the two Tough Brazil finale fights. First of all, it's a really weird spot to put a finale fights, right? The Tough Brazil 4 finale fights. I think there should be on prelims or something. If you're gonna make people buy a pay-per-view, well, why put those two fights in there? To me, it's kind of weird, right? Because these are 4 unknown guys. But let's talk about the very first fight here. Reginaldo Vieira against Dileno Lopez. Is it Lopez or Lopez? Because it's not a Z. Is it Lopes or Lopez?
Lopez.
I think it's Lopes.
Lopez. Let's go with Lopez, just in case. So, all right, Lopez is a quick guy who finds, he finds good angles and he puts together good combos, but he's not very athletic, I don't think. But he manages. Vieira is a motherfucker on the ground, all right? I've seen videos of him on YouTube. A scary dude on the ground. He's very limited on the feet. In my opinion, can't strike with a shit, but you do not want to get to the ground with this guy because he will find a way to sub you. I am going to take Vieira on this one because I think he's going to get that fight to the ground and tear someone's knee out. Don, what do you think about this fight?
When I saw the card, I went back and I watched one of the fights. Vieira might be the luckiest man in the history of Tough. He didn't make it, and then 2 people got injured, and he came in. That's crazy. And then he finished off Bruno Correa, or whatever you want to call him, his weird last name. Finished him on the ground. His striking's not great, but I just have a feeling he's going to do what he did in the house. He's going to get people to the ground. He's going to find a way to finish this. So I'm going to go with Reginaldo, not based on the name, but just based on the ground game.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jesse, who you got?
Man, tough fight. I mean, like you said, these guys are some of the unknowns here, and like you said, it's so weird for me that we're gonna have some awesome fights to start this pay-per-view, and then basically slap dab in the middle, we're just gonna have a time where I guess we can all grab a beer, go watch World Series of Fighting, maybe. A little hint. But I don't know, man. Like, it's these two fights are kind of weird for me. I had to look back and kind of really look at their records, look at what they've done, watch some of the fights, and I mean, Lopes or Lopez here. I think he's confident enough in his submission game that I think he'll be able to hang with Vieira, and I think he's the one that's going to win just because he's got a little bit better striking. Vieira has, like you guys said, I mean, that dude looks worse than Jake Shields striking. I mean, his striking is god awful, and that's pretty bad. I mean, if you guys know, Jake Shields striking looks like someone just barely learned off of YouTube how to throw a punch. But I'm looking at Lopez here. Lopez, he's got a 5 fight winning streak going into the Tough House. Coming into the UFC. So I'm going with Lopez here.
All right, and so and here's the thing: you never know if maybe Vieira might have gotten a Vieira, whatever, might have gotten a like a striking coach or something, or found someone to teach him how to strike, so he's a little bit better. But I don't buy it. I think he's gonna be like what's his name? Fighting tonight is Pajares, right?
Yep.
I think he's more of a Pajares guy. A guy who just wants to drop down and grab a limb. So. Maybe we'll get to see that. Who knows? But again, the fact that it's in the main card to me is really weird. All right, but let's move on to the next Tough Brazil final. Glaico Franca against Fernando Bruno. Franca's young, he's athletic, he's well-rounded. Bruno, not so much. Doesn't have much of a skill set, in my opinion, and it's really a wonder how he got to the finals. Or maybe that's just indicating how good or bad the Tough Brazil forecast was. But I'm gonna take Franca because I think he's all around better. Jesse, what do you think about this fight? And who you got?
Exactly. That's just, you look at the records. I mean, Bruno just basically takes nobody's to decision, just barely wins some fights. Has a submission game, but that's about it. Franca, on the other hand, he's got the hands, he's got the submission. He's just all around better. It's gonna be a tough night for Bruno. And of course, like I said, I mean, just go grab a beer, man. Come back, maybe check on Twitter after 3 rounds how these fights went. Who got the tough crown or whatever, but it's just, it sucks that they stuck these two right before some pretty good fights.
Yeah, and again, it's a seven. I think it's a 7-fight main card. So it's for two of them to be this, and then you get the main event, and then a kind of decent co-main, but then a bunch of names. Like I said on Twitter earlier today, I'm gonna have to go watch it somewhere because I have a hard time justifying paying $60 to watch it. I just have a hard time doing it. A lot of people will just drop the money, whatever, because it's Rousey, but I'm gonna go somewhere to watch it. Don, who you got in this fight, and what do you think? And who do you think wins?
As a big fan of the WWE and WWF growing up, this reminds me of kind of like what they do with the female fights. They put those like right in the middle.
Oh yeah.
Time for you to go get your sandwich. You come back. Maybe it's over. Maybe it's not. Do whatever it is. Franca, young kid, great on the ground. Hopefully he can get this done real quick so he can move on to the co-main. But I'm gonna take him. Bruno didn't really impress me at all. This year Tough wasn't the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
So Franca, congratulations, you're gonna be Tough champion.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be that hard for him either. But we've seen crazy shit happen before. And on your point on the on the chick wrestling match, what do they call it? the diva matches in WWE. Yeah. It's weird because I keep I always run into stuff on Twitter, right? And they have this one account called Lana's Booty. So I clicked on it, and this chick is fun as hell. And so I watched an episode of Raw not too long ago, and it had her in it, and I was like, she's fine as hell. They had these two chicks from Arizona called the Bella Twins. They're fine as hell. I will actually tune in just to watch those and skip the rest of the thing, because damn, all right? So if you're missing, if you don't really care for pro wrestling, you just want to see the chicks, just wait till the diva fights show up, or the diva matches show up, and then watch those, and then bail, all right? Because the rest of it, in my opinion, to me, it's not fun anymore. But those ladies, damn, all right? And again, find that Twitter handle, Lana's Booty, follow it. It's awesome. All right. Moving on here to the yeah, exactly. Shout out to Lana's Booty. And the Bella Twins are fine as hell. All right, moving on to the co-main event. Mauricio Shogun Hua against Antonio Ruggiero Nogueira. This is Little Nog against Shogun. Shogun's back with his original coach, Rafael Cordero, over at King's MMA. Same gym as lightweight champ RDA, and the same gym as the current heavyweight champ, who will be champ for just a little while longer, Fabricio Verdum. People are hoping they're going to be able to recreate their first fight they had in Pride. Shogun says they're going to deliver. Little Nog hasn't fought since July of last year, and that was a massive knockout loss to Rumble Johnson that you can remember. Before that, he beat Rashad Evans in 2013, and then before that, Tito Ortiz in 2011. What's my point? That he doesn't fight that often at all. It's hard to pick a guy who hasn't fought very much in the last 3 years. On top of it, he's 39 years old, and those are some long years that he's had. Tons of wars that we've seen him in. And I think Shogun here is going to win just by the mere fact that he's been more active. I think he's 33. He's a younger guy, and that sucks to say because both guys are legends. And in my opinion, Little Nog is the man. And I used to watch all his. But look, anytime you say a Nogueira fights, I'm watching. I'm not missing those fights at all. Those guys are legends. But I'm gonna pick Shogun here. I don't even want to say if it's a decision or a TK or anything because I don't care. But I think Shogun's gonna take it. What do you think, Don?
I was listening to The Fighter and the Kid, and Brandon Schaub even talked about it when he was on the card when he lost to Rumble. When Jerry was in the back just hitting pads, he didn't look like he was there anymore. So it's a totally different vibe from the guy that we all know from the 2005 Fight of the Year. This guy is going to be facing Shogun, who, like you said, is back at his old place. He's with Cordero. He's with the champs. I just think Mauricio, he has the chance to take it, but I'm going to base it on a weird thing. If Rodrigo Nogueira wins at the beginning of the night, that might push Little Nog to the next. So, barring what happens with Big Nog, I'm choosing Mauricio right now at this point. But if Big Nog wins, don't be surprised if Little Nog takes the power as well.
Yeah, he goes Superman. He goes Superman for the co-main and gets the Nogueiras a couple wins here. What do you think, Jesse?
Man, I have to agree. I mean, we saw it with the Misha Tate and whatever her boyfriend's name is.
Yeah.
You know, we saw it with the Pettis brothers. Mr. Tate. Yeah, we saw it with the Pettis brothers. I mean, you know, Sergio got just knocked out brutally, and then no matter what Pettis wants to say, RDA better guy that night, but still. Like, you could tell his head was not in the game at that point. You know, he was thinking about his brother, had to get Carter to the hospital because he was concussed. You know, so these things affect people. You know, it's like football. The little tiny centimeters and inches are what wins the game. You know, and that's what we're going to see here. I think Hua should be able to win this fight just based upon the fact that he hasn't really just having all these brutal fights that Nogueira has had. you know, that AJ loss, I mean, I still shudder just thinking about that knockout. That was just such a nasty, brutal knockout. And if you guys haven't seen it, man, you got to go back and look at it and just fear for that dude's life because that was terrible. And you know, the thing here, though, I really, really want Shogun, now that he's back with King's MMA, I would want him to drop down in weight. I think he's a little outsized here in the 205 division, and I think if he's really, really going to make a run here, 185 would be the best division for him. You know, he could, you know, get some of the speed back that used to really mark his career. And I think that's what needs to happen here. I think he takes this win, you know, feels good, and then moves down in the division. You know, probably make one last run at the title, and then, you know, hopefully ride off into the sunset. I mean, you're looking at this card, a lot of Brazilian heavy people, a lot of very legendary people in Brazil, and I hope some of these really, you know, get energized from the crowd and really, you know, just kind of soak it in and, you know, look at their career and hopefully decide that, you know, sooner rather than later is going to be the time to kind of ride off into the sunset. So, Hua, unless, you know, like Don said, Big Knock gets a big win and then comes out there and, you know, gives him that extra power, and then maybe a Nogueira war here, but I think Rua should be able to take this fight down.
All right, so that's your co-main event. We're all taking Shogun, pretty much, unless Big Nog does something insane. So, and obviously we'll know at the point by the time we get to the co-main. All right, moving on here to the main event of the evening, Ronda Rousey versus Bethe Correia. All right, so is this not an execution? Are we not sending Bethe Correia to slaughter? I mean, just look at the names and the way that her fights have ended. Correia's last 3 fights were Julie Kedzie, which is a split decision win, Jessamyn Duke, which is I think it was a decision win, and Shayna Baszler, who she beat the crap out of in the second round. In my opinion, all tomato cans. Okay, and all due respect to all 3 fighters, and I know Jessamyn Duke actually put up a good fight, this last weekend, but they're not very skilled fighters. Ronda Rousey's last 3 fights, Kat Zingano armbar, Alexis Davis knockout, Sarah McMahon TKO, and everybody before them, including Miesha Tate, got their arms ripped to shit. So Ronda Rousey is an elite fighter. Bethe Correia is not. It's that simple. Correia can bark all she wants to. She can bulge out her little French bulldog eyes and shit. But and she can say the worst stuff she wants to, that she could think of to try and get to Ronda Rousey's head. But Ronda Rousey is a once ever fighter, not even once in a life, just once ever fighter, who's going to come into Correia's backyard. She got more cheers at the open workout. She got more cheers at the weigh-ins. Correia got boos. And she's going to embarrass, Rousey's going to embarrass the Brazilian in her hometown and make it look really bad. Correia might as well retire after this fight, because after you lose to Ronda Rousey, you really don't do much. And that's honestly giving credit to Miesha Tate for being able to get another shot at Rousey, a 3rd fight. So, again, Ronda Rousey by murder at this point. I don't even care how it happens. It won't be fast, because Ronda Rousey's supposedly not going to be fast. Ronda Rousey's already said that it's going to be a long fight. Her mom's not happy about that, by the way. She wants it to end as fast as possible. We'll find out tonight what route Rousey takes, but it's Ronda by murder. Jesse, who you got?
All right. It's sad. It's sad to see Correia here basically get thrown into the fire. I think maybe with a couple more wins, maybe 2-3 more wins, she could have been a contender. She could have built herself up. But like you said, I mean, look at her wins. I mean, Julie Kedzie retired, didn't really have a good showing at the end. Jessamyn Duke, she doesn't know how to use the skills and abilities that she has to her full potential, and she still took her to a decision. Shayna Baszler, not the same as she was. Just got teed up a little bit. Still, fought back a little bit, but I mean, those wins are not impressive by any means necessary. And then you look over on the other side. I mean, they don't even go around. Not even like, 2 of those didn't even go a minute. Less than 30 seconds. I mean, they coined the phrase Instagrammable because of Rousey, because her last fight was literally long enough to put on Instagram video. Yeah, no. Correia's just, she might be able to put up a fight, but I doubt that. I mean, I don't think in any sense of the word she could even put up a very decent fight against Miesha Tate. I think Miesha Tate would destroy her as well. And I think Miesha Tate has skills that challenge Rousey better than Correia. Correia doesn't have any type of wrestling that we've seen. There's just nothing And there's almost no words to describe how like underclass she is here. It's just gonna be a very very elite fighter beating the crap out of a lower tier fighter, which sucks. We could have waited, maybe 2-3 more fights. She could have built herself up, maybe learned a bit more skills. But yeah, it's too early for her. Probably too early in life for her because she ain't never gonna get this chance again. And yeah, in front of Brazil, that sucks. So.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. It's way too early for Correa. Correa should have kept going. Honestly, you can make a case for a lot of the girls in the division, like Holly Holm and all them. Just too soon for them. Miesha Tate pretty much right on time, especially with the fact that now she showed a lot of power. You're kind of curious to see what she could do against Rousey. I still don't think she beats her, but yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Don, what do you think about this fight and who you got winning?
One of the ways I've talked to other friends that know MMA about this is it's kind of like when you play your little brother in Mortal Kombat. You let him get a few shots in, you have fun, but when you notice something might actually end up happening, you kick the shit out of him.
Yeah.
There is no ifs, ands, or buts. Ronda will eventually get hit, and she's going to be like, okay, that was fun. Come here, let me throw you on your back, let me take this arm. Or, you know what, she might even do what she did to Alexis, get a headlock, do a hip toss, land on her, and just start beating that face. I mean, I really, really like Vanderlei Correa, but I just don't see her winning. I mean, she's going to go in there, she's going to start swinging for the fences. She's going to end up getting tired. She's going to try to make it like a tough man competition. Ronda doesn't play that. She's going to do what she was taught to do. She's going to sit down, hit her with one punch. It's going to stun her, grab the head, flip her over, and take the arm. Second round, third round, I don't really care. I mean, I want it to go longer because Correa's had some messed up things in the past few months. I mean, you don't talk about suicide when someone else's dad committed suicide. You don't make a joke. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ronda ends it early, but I also wouldn't be surprised if she wants to make it go three and a half, 4 rounds. It really wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, and
Guys,
again, what's up?
I don't know, but like if you guys look, I don't know if you can see this, but like the media notes.
Yeah, if you could talk, go for it.
If you could see the media notes here, it's hilarious because I mean they have like this whole history of Ronda Rousey, everything she's done, her submission wins and everything. Correa has like this much. She has a degree in accounting, and she has 1 knockout. And that's it. That's her whole history. Not even the UFC put any effort into showing the media what she's capable of doing. I mean, it's so sad to really look at like what kind of star power is being put behind her. I mean, this is going to make her career, basically, because, she's going to get maybe some pay-per-view points here. She's going to get a little cut of, like, getting her face destroyed. But, I mean, what else can she do in this fight, I mean, not even the UFC thinks highly enough of her to kind of build her up better than just giving her 3 lines in her notes, Has an accounting degree. Ooh. Like, it doesn't mean anything. Like, it sucks.
She's gonna take it out and give Rousey paper cuts during the fight. That's what she's gonna do. Fucking A. All right. All right. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You got our picks. Tweet over to us. You can tell us what your picks are. Again, remember, UFC Fight Pass prelims go down 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Fox Sports 1 prelims 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And the main card, again, for all you guys on the East Coast, have fun staying up late. 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. All right. You can follow Jesse at Spawat1983. That's SPW181983. Don is at CBMMA_Don. And you can follow the delusional Nick Pilecki over at Nick X Micro. We can send him as many memes as you want as possible, just ridiculing his pick. And you know what? You definitely should just do it. Just send him all that stuff. And then hit him with a follow because, you got to be nice after that. And, of course, you can follow me at Elot31 and the page is over at CrossBonesMMA. Go to CrossBonesMMA.com for more content, all the shows, everything you can find on there. That's ours. Big thanks to FightBookMMA.com, the good dudes over there. And come back tomorrow for the CrossBonesMMA Monthly Awards. So for Jesse, Don, Crazy Nick, I am Eddie Law. Enjoy the fights tonight, and you guys have a good day.